Hello. Today I'm going to talk to you about a story's plot and its theme and how they differ. Basically, we think of a story's plot as what happens in the story, and we think of theme as what the story wants to say. A writer arranges events for a story, the plot, so that the story can most effectively express its theme. I think I can explain this distinction by telling a story that you might have heard before about the fox and the grapes. According to the story, a fox once saw a tasty-looking bunch of grapes on a high branch. Because they looked tasty, the fox started jumping for that high branch to pull them down for eating. The fox wanted the grapes. However, the branch was too high, so although the fox tried and tried, although the fox worked very hard to get those grapes, the fox could not reach the grapes. But again, the fox really wanted those grapes, so that fox kept jumping for that high branch, but with no success. Well, after a little while of this, the fox finally gives up. The story ends with the fox walking away, muttering, those grapes were probably sour anyway. So that is the plot of the story, The Fox and the Grapes. These things happen in the story. And thinking about these events, thinking about these things that happen in the story, might remind us to consider we often pretend not to what we can't get. When we try for something and fail, oftentimes we will tell ourselves we never wanted that anyway. In fact, when you hear the phrase, he was having sour grapes, this is where that comes from. The phrase means that a person that we're talking about pretended to not want something that that person couldn't get. We're referring to the theme of The Fox and the Grapes. So we can say that the story relates the events of the plot so that the story can express the theme. Indeed, we might look at a story's plot as a specific example of the general condition that the story's theme expresses. As you see here, the story's plot discusses a single fox and that fox's particular quest for these grapes, whereas the story's theme discusses the general condition of most people. One might say all of us, but one doesn't want to make too much generalization. So I hope this lecture will have given you some help in thinking about the relationship between a story's plot and its theme. The stories very rarely state their themes directly, so we can deepen our appreciation of literature by considering not only a story's plot, but also the meaning of the story's plot. In other words, the story's theme. We can help ourselves as readers and as thinkers about literature by asking ourselves not just what the story says, but what the story means to say by the way it arranges these events. As always, thank you for your time and attention.